I'd like to call to order the regular school board meeting for Monday, December 9th. If everyone would please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming and welcome to the meeting. At this point, do we have any changes, amendments, additions, or deletions to the agenda?
10.04, can we put that one for discussion? It's the Pinecrest Lakes Middle High School charter application.
I was going to pull that too. Anything else? Seeing none? We have no minutes this week. So, moving on to representation, we have a district spotlight about attendance awareness with Mrs. Sherry Owens.
Lake County School District is a place where our students are always learning and growing into the leaders of tomorrow. In September, our district joined others across the country in recognizing Attendance Awareness Month. Nationally, 7.5 million students miss nearly a month of school every year. Starting as early as kindergarten, chronic absence predicts lower third grade reading scores. By middle school, it's a warning sign that students will fail key classes and drop out of high school. So, led by our Student Services Department, we challenge students and families to team up for attendance. Students at all grade levels competed in a contest to see what kinds of messaging they could create for their peers to emphasize the importance of coming to school. Students submitted creative poster designs and original videos. Here are the winning submissions.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call you back.
I need help.
I'm surprised you showed up today. Your attendance has been terrible.
I know. Ever since I stopped showing up, there's been something that's following me.
That is your GPA. It's gonna follow you around if you don't show up.
Well, how do I fix it?
That should be pretty apparent.
to see you. Welcome back. Alright guys, as you're coming in, let's go ahead and get out our books. We're going to be starting today back in chapter 2. Don't forget to check the bell ringer on the board, and everybody welcome back Miss Cole. Okay, in your books we're going to be on page 36, beginning reading. Let's start with...
Being in school every day is one of the leading contributors to student success. So congratulations to everyone who has been in school every day on time so far this school year. Special thanks to everyone who participated in our Attendance Awareness Month, and congratulations to all of our contest winners. Let's continue to make student attendance a top priority for the remainder of this school year. We can do it, Lake.
Madam Chairman, Superintendent, board members, our student services team is here with some very special guests and some presentations they'd like to make at this time. So with your permission, I'd like to ask student services to come forward. And there they are.
Superintendent, Madam Chairman, thank you so much for allowing us to be in front of you this evening. Thank you for your participation in and support of our second annual Attendance Awareness Month poster and video contest. We especially want to thank the Education Foundation for their sponsorship of our contest, and we will continue to promote, encourage, and support our schools with attendance awareness throughout the year. We're pleased to announce the poster and video contest winners, so please let's begin. When we call your name, we'd like for you to come up front, receive your award, and then be recognized and take some pictures with us. We're going to start with our poster contest winners. Johannes Leotorinos is a third grade student at Triangle Elementary. Come on up. From Groveland Elementary, we have fourth grade student Karina Parker. We had two middle school poster winners, both from Eastridge Middle School. The first is Chase Coelho, who's in the 6th grade. And Olivia Hearn, who's in the 7th grade. Finally, we have our video contest winners, who are students at Eustis High School, part of Mr. Michael Ligler's TV production team. Could I ask any of those students here this evening to please join us in the front?
Where's the one that had a GPA?
So who's here? I want to recognize who's here from your team. I know I met Delaney Cole. Delaney Cole. Who else is here? Congratulations on your video. Thank you again, students. Congratulations. Would you like to go outside for pictures? Or
Can we invite them up? These wonderful
okay?
and
Yes.
bright, engaging students.
Yes. So if we could have you come this way, walk around and shake the board members' hands. Walk around this way.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Great work. Great work.
Congratulations.
Great work. Very good work.
Congratulations. Good job.
Yes, thank you.
Can I just mention that that kid Chase there had the best kindergarten teacher in the world?
Fabulous.
Okie dokie.
Now we can.
That's cool.
Are we done with ours?
Is that individual here?
Mark Toddy.
Do we have more? We're not sure if we have more spotlight. Okay. So that's under reports. Okay. So sorry. At this point, we're going to go back and do an approval of the minutes because we did have minutes.
So I
Superintendent?
recommend approval of the minutes from the special school board meeting, organization meeting, November 18th, 2019, and the regular school board meeting, November 18th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Motion passes unanimously. I'm cleaning up a spill, so I apologize. So at this point, we'll go on to reports. We have the Educational Foundation with Ms. Carmen Cullenbat.
Chairman, School Board, Superintendent, thank you. The Educational Foundation has had 484 teacher visits, which totals in $36,300 in supplies distributed this year, and that is running 20.4% above last year. Employee giving campaign is at $20,692. That's an 80% increase in dollars from last year and an 84.9% increase in donors over last year. The Lady of the Lakes Renaissance Fair is finished, thank you. But it was the largest gate ever. It was attended by 24,475 patrons. 46.9% of those were from Lake County. So we expect the $2.5 current $1 million economic impact that we have on the county to increase. 3,282 students from Lake County and 7 other counties as far away as Duval attended Education Day. The culinary students cooked and served over $83,000 in fair food and drinks, and the foundation grossed $340,000 and netted $151,000 out of that event. We have been notified that we are receiving 3 2000 AT&T grants. It's the first time ever that we've gotten more than 2, so we were very excited. We were also notified that AMSCOT just gave a $1 campaign, and Lake County raised $4,400. And we also are receiving $5,000 from SunTrust for the ACT Reading Prep Program. The Teacher of the Year has been moved from Lake Receptions to Venetian Center, and the date has changed from February 1st to January 30th. That is a Thursday evening. The judges meet next week to select the 3 finalists, and the announcements will be made in early January. Duke Energy is the presenting sponsor, and Ernie Morris Enterprises is donating over $10,000 worth of chairs to all 48 of our nominees. And in a repeat, Jenkins Auto Group will be giving our Teacher of the Year a car to use for 3 years. The district Christmas party is December 17th at Life Point Church in Eustis, and we are asking that our employees bring non-perishable food items that will be given to our food bank and student services. And the elves from Jenkins Auto are collecting toys in all 4 of their dealerships for our homeless students that they'll be bringing to the party as well. Take Stock in Children has 45 applicants that are qualified for the scholarship for next year, and the scoring and interview processes will be starting early in January. Last Friday night, we had a reverse draw for Take Stock in Children, and we raised $8,400, which was enough to purchase 2 scholarships. And before I go on with one more Take Stock announcement, I would like to say that I had the privilege of going to Tampa last Wednesday to honor the superintendent. Our superintendent was selected statewide as a star superintendent from the Consortium of Education Foundations.
All so much.
We have never had
What an honor.
a statewide superintendent of the year. We do now. We do have, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Bill Mathias was the 2017 School Board Member of the Year, and Scott Strong was the 2008 School Board Member of the Year. So Diane, you're in good company. So, and now I have some news from Take Stock in Children. We are wanting to recognize Christopher Ganesh. He is a 12th grade student at South Lake High School. He is one of the 12 finalists for Leader for Life Fellowship. This is a tremendous honor, and Chris and his entire family is right here if you'd like to stand. And behind them is my phenomenal Take Stock in Children team, Connie, Amber, and Casey. Leaders for Life is a fellowship started by the Osofsky Family Foundation in cooperation with Take Stock in Children. The Osofsky Family Foundation started Leaders for Life Fellowship because they believe every child has the right to develop to their fullest potential regardless of socioeconomic or family circumstances. And education is one of the most effective tools to create opportunities and break the cycle of poverty. Students selected for the Leaders for Life Fellowship enter into a tuition scholarship from Take Stock in Children, and Leaders for Life provides additional financial and support resources to enable fellows to reach all their full potential, including houses, meal plans, computers, books, personal expenses, mentorship support, leadership training, and internship opportunities. Only 6 students in the entire state are selected. Right now, we're honoring Chris, who is in that top 12, so we're crossing our fingers for him. He's been a part of Take Stock in Children since the 8th grade. Again, he is a senior at South Lake High School. He is currently ranked first in his class at South Lake High School. And besides the rigorous honors, advanced placement, and dual enrollment, he is the executive board president for the student government. He is also president of his National Honor Society and president of his school's Multi Alpha Theta chapter and more. Among some of his accomplishments, he competed in Washington, D.C. in the Real World Design Challenge. He placed first in all the high school engineering subcategories at the Science Fair and won the 2017 STEM Scholar Award. He's also the recipient of a 2+2 scholarship upgrade through Take Stock for excellence in grades, attendance, behavior, and community service hours. By the time he graduates from high school in the spring, he plans to achieve his AA degree from Lake Sumter State College. He is the first in his family to go to college, and his ultimate goal is to complete a bachelor's degree in business administration or engineering from the University of Florida, followed by an MBA from Columbia University. Christopher was notified back in October that he was a finalist, but we wanted to acknowledge him at the school board meeting. So again, Chris and your family, would you stand? Chris, would you join me for a minute, please? And if I can get through this without crying, what Christopher doesn't know is that the invitation to the school board meeting tonight was a ruse. It is my great honor to share with you that you're not a finalist, you are a winner. You are a leader for These are the ones, the next year, Chris is where
She is, she loves them.
Yes. Yes. Woohoo! I got chill bumps.
Yay!
Congratulations. He will be recognized in Tampa. Chris, would you like to?
Yes, please. Come here, Christopher.
And I have more good news. Accountability legislation and school improvement initiatives are built upon the active involvement of parents, guardians, business people, and other community leaders who contribute significantly to help improve our schools. The legislative intent is to return the responsibility for education to those closest to the students, schools, teachers, and families. The 5-Star School Award was established to recognize that community involvement is fundamental to student success. This symbol of achievement is presented each year to those schools that have shown evidence of exemplary community involvement. In order to qualify for this award, the school must meet 100% of the criteria in the categories of business partnerships, family involvement, volunteers, student community service, and student advisory councils. Last year, we had 15 schools earn that honor. This year, we have 16. And Superintendent, would you help me distribute? They're in alpha. One of these days, I'm going to start with you, Matilda. Our first recipient is Claremont Elementary, Principal Jeff Williams. Cypress Ridge Elementary, Scott Boyko. Eustis Heights, Dr. Tiffany Scott. Fruitland Park, Tammy Langley. Grassy Lake, Julie Williams. Groveland Elementary, Ms. Sneed. Lost Lake, Ms. Cousineau. Pine Ridge Elementary, Ms. Abanto. Sawgrass Bay, Andrea Stinkin. Seminole Springs, Ms. Work. Sorrento Elementary, Ms. Burkhead. Tavares Elementary, Ms. Peppers is here this evening. Treadway Elementary, Dr. King. Triangle Elementary, Ms. Strawn. And Umatilla Elementary, Ms. Ryer. And I pulled out Rhymes because not only is he earning the certificate, he's getting a piano from Disney. Thank you. I think they want you to.
Would you all please come up?
Thank you.
I will not be playing piano.
Thank you.
Now, are you going to be playing some Jerry Reed? Well, yeah. There's something cooking.
Do you have some?
Madam Chair, that concludes my report unless anyone has any questions.
Is there any questions?
No. And
Thank you
again,
very much. That's a lot of work.
well, and I just want to congratulate the superintendent because it was a huge, huge honor that our superintendent has won.
Thank you, Carmen, for all you do. Okay. We need to back up and move on to public input. So I have 4 public input cards. Everyone who gives public input has 3 minutes to speak. And our first one is Lori Elliston. If you'd come up to the podium, I don't know where she is.
Good evening, Superintendent, Madam Chairman, and the board members. I'm Lori Elliston, and I have served Lake County Schools for over 2 decades as a food service manager. I've been the manager at Eastridge High School, the largest high school in Lake County, for the past 10 years as a manager 3. I come before you tonight with support of others in food service to ask for your consideration for the proposal in adding the additional manager levels of 4 and 5 as discussed in a previous workshop. These 2 levels will help enhance retention management by creating advancement opportunities, impacting a number of our schools. The current manager levels at Lake County are 1, 2, and 3. These are differentiated by number of meal equivalencies, the combination of breakfasts, lunches, and a la carte sales. A manager 1 is feeding up to 500, manager 2 is 501 to 700, and a manager 3, which 31 of our 44 managers are feeding 700 more and basically to infinity, because there's no cap on it. A third of the schools in Lake County are currently providing over 1,000 meal equivalencies every day. The current structure of food service managers 1, 2, and 3 have been in place for over 30 years without any changes to accommodate the increase in enrollments and higher participation of students in the food service program. Lake County continues with its unprecedented growth and no relief of additional schools in the near future. Food service strides in providing high-quality meals, nutritious, to ensure the students have the fuel their minds and bodies need to engage for their daily education. Beyond feeding our students, managers are tasked to lead and manage their teams, but are also asked to make our programs more successful and to feed more students. From a legacy planning standpoint, the additional manager levels of 4 and 5 would help provide the incentives for managers to increase the participation in their programs with creative ideas like having more serving lines, promoting new food items, or switching around choices to help create more awareness for their students. Additionally, the new manager levels of 4 and 5 would also help create incentives for managers to stay in the county for years to come by applying for positions at larger schools with more challenging opportunities. I would like to invite each of you to come out as a team to Eastridge High School to come see our food service operation in action, as well as any of the schools that have managers 3s in place to compare and see the volume differences at these schools. In closing, we ask for your consideration for the proposal of adding the additional manager level 4 and 5 to help our food service team to continue to provide excellence in food service for our students. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We will address this more further during our staffing plan, but thank you for the details.
I appreciate it.
Terry Stevens.
Yes, Superintendent Cornegie, we are so proud of you. That is a wonderful honor. Madam Chair and school board members. After this wonderful celebration, this saddens me, but I want to explain that I realize, Superintendent Cornegie, you are no more responsible for this malfeasance we are now facing any more than I. The mismanagement of Fund 100 over the years has caused us all to have doubt, and we are very concerned because it has affected all of us. We had Governor DeSantis' big outreach to everyone out there stating that he was going to give beginning teachers a salary of $47,500. The teachers, and the majority of the teachers in my school make below that, meaning he is focusing on just getting the beginning salary pay up. He's not giving money. And here I am, still a veteran teacher who lost my $6,000 by 1 year. And there are many of us that work for you in the county that are in that situation. I received numerous phone calls after that broke. It was on CBS News, the Tampa Tribune, and the St. Petersburg. So if you want to look that up, it's just everybody is just going, ugh, it's just one more thing. But you have to remember that as an advocate for teachers, I take my job very seriously, just as you take your job seriously. Many teachers will not speak because they're afraid of retribution. That is not I. I am here because I want you to know the truth. Mentor teachers in Lake County have lost money over the years. In the beginning, when I first started teaching, I went through that program. Then they took it away. National Board took it away. Boom, loss it there. We go back to mentor teacher with Diane Mullen, and we're supposed to be getting something, and then, boop, that's gone. The promise for loyalty for serving the amount of years that I've been here was $6,000. And the Tea Party scooped that little amount away because they were pitching a fit that year. So therefore, because one little organization, you know, they just say, oh, this is not fair. Why do they get a jump at this stage? Because it's for loyalty, if you know anything about Lake County schools. And trust me, I've been here a long time. Then we had the LIFT program that could not sustain itself. And I had those numbers. I'm on contract negotiations, and we have a wonderful team. Nothing to say badly about our team at all on either side. But when we had another superintendent in power, I ran it through my financial advisor, and she said this cannot sustain itself. You can check on record, and it is there. It cannot sustain itself. Now, when in doubt, we blame the state. But I am here tonight to gripe about our pre-K teachers. We have pre-K ESE, we have pre-K teachers, and we have their teacher assistants. They are not being compensated. How can you have a school when everybody gets it, K through 12, and then you leave out that group of people? How fair is that? No, that's not fair. AR, iStation, no practice testing on iReady anymore. Bonuses are not raises. All we are left with in the end is our own integrity. It is up to this board to do the right thing. These teachers need to be compensated. Those veteran teachers need to be compensated. If we're putting money at the beginning, then the focus needs to be the others that have not received it. By being an advocate for teachers, I can sleep at night.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay.
Ms. Cronin, Tim Cronin, and then Amanda Lyos will be following.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. We are just before our holiday break, winter break, and our employees have not received a raise. There's not even a slight hint of maybe talking about a raise right now. I did hear your food service manager, which this is public input, and everybody has the right to come here and talk about what they want to talk about. So maybe your 4,000 to 5,000 other employees that are looking for money ought to be coming here also. I'm not sure. What bothers me about the food service situation is you had a director of food service that was actually working along with this employee that had her come to meetings to talk to other employees, and then the supervisor sent out an email about this meeting tonight. That is not right. This is a mandatory subject of bargaining. It's been at bargaining. There were situations that came about in bargaining. And this is an unfair labor practice. It's direct dealing with a supervisor and an employee. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. I'm having trouble reading it. Amanda Lyos? Sorry for butchering your name.
Sorry, it happens all the time. Good evening, Superintendent, Madam Chair, and board members. I stand before you as one of the pre-K teachers that was not included. I realize that this cannot be blamed on any of you, but I am in my 5th year teaching in the district. I started at a year when the salary increase was the year following, so I feel the pain of the other teachers. After teaching 3rd grade for 3 years, I transitioned to pre-K ESE because I firmly believe in early intervention for students with disabilities, and I love my job. I love my students, and I love seeing the growth that they make each and every day. My TAs and I work hard to prepare our students for general education kindergarten, not a self-contained class, because after all, that is the goal. With that being said, I have to admit that I am discouraged and disheartened about this Best and Brightest bonus. While I understand that the state of Florida defines instructional personnel as K-12, I'm disappointed that it was overlooked by the district. I've been told by several people that it was not known when they took it to bargaining. I am a highly qualified, highly effective teacher, and I'm getting nothing. I've already lost my performance pay. Now this. I want to know why pre-K teachers were excluded. If someone did know, why wasn't that information provided to the union so it could be discussed during bargaining? Other counties in the state made sure that their pre-K teachers and paraprofessionals were included in getting some type of bonus. Per a press release issued by this very district, it stated all instructional personnel, not just classroom teachers, which means I believe that we should have been included. It would have been nice to receive some kinds of heads up from someone that we were not being included before that press release was sent out. It's almost like we're not being appreciated for the same work that we put in as K-12 teachers. I will continue to do the job that I love, continue working with my students and making those gains. And I will continue to work for Lake County Schools because, after all, I do love Lake County. But I respectfully request that the district, and you guys before me, please look into how to make this right. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have an attorney report?
Yes, briefly. Last meeting, you all were asked to elect a hearing officer for an employee termination appeal, and you elected to hear the matter collectively as a board. We just wanted to advise you that the employee's attorney has filed some additional items in circuit court, and we're going through all those items now, and just wanted to let you know that there will be some decisions that we're going to come forward in the very near future to you, but just wanted to let you know that those exist and that you'll be hearing from us on that matter soon. That's it.
Are we still scheduled for the 7th?
Yes.
At what time?
Is it 8:30 or 9? I think it's 8:30.
I think it's 9 o'clock. We'll make sure to resend the notice to you all.
And you'll contact us with the other things you need to tell us about?
It will probably have to be a litigation session because it's litigation.
Oh, okay. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. Superintendent?
We have no unfinished business, and so I am ready to recommend approval of the consent agenda items. So I recommend approval of consent agenda items 8.01 to 10.03 and 10.05 to 10.09.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, going back to item 10.04. Mr. Dodd, you pulled this?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with the board with some of the information that I've learned. In the workshop, I had a lot of budget-type questions regarding the financial operations of the Pinecrest schools and how it's a sustainable model. Mr. Richard Moreno had sent me a few budgets of some of the schools, and then I followed up with a number of questions that their Pinecrest back office is still working on trying to figure out the answers to. But some notable highlights I would like to report with you because, I kept scratching my head figuring out how does this budget work? How does it work when you only have that many students? I kept saying it doesn't work. Well, I will share with you that of the budgets they sent me, not a single one of them for any of the Lake or Orange schools had a positive cash flow without also receiving a loan. Turns out they had to borrow $800,000 to make the $2 million budget work for Four Corners, and they had to borrow $1 million to make the $3 million budget work for Pinecrest Lakes. That certainly is not a long-term sustainable model, and of course, I said, well, help me understand the repayment terms of that, because we know it comes from the corporation, it comes from Pinecrest Inc., and there are no repayment terms. It's basically just whenever a school feels like they've got extra money in their budget, then they will repay that. So then my question was, well, how does the corporation get this money? Because they told us that they had $25 million in the bank. So in addition to the $450 that Academica receives per student, up to $200 per student goes to Pinecrest Inc. So essentially they're taking $200 of each student's FTE money in Miami-Dade and shifting that money to subsidize other schools in Lake and Orange. And that makes me once again have the question of, we can't do that, right? We can't call up and say, we want money because we want to fund some salary increases for all of our employees. So Orange County, hey, can you lend us a couple $1 million with no repayment terms? To me, that doesn't seem like a financially sustainable model, as at some point, I guess I wonder at what point do they stop sending all the money from Miami-Dade to Lake And also, I think that runs counter to the intention of the FEFP that tries to equalize. Well, granted, I understand where we are in that financial picture of the FEFP, but does this not go against the intention of the state that you just can't move $200 from somebody's FTE to another county? So anyway, that's what I found out.
Where is the loans taken from? Is it from their own institution? Are they loaning themselves their money?
Yeah, Pinecrest Inc. loans the money to the school.
Okay, so it's internal transfers, really. Okay, so that's how they get away with it. Okay.
Right.
So, and then they said that they had 25 million as their, so they obviously have enough funding to make the transfers without stressing themselves too much.
Yeah, I'm just so surprised that they, once again, I mean, they stood behind these budgets, but yet they could not send me a budget that had a positive cash flow that did not also have a loan attached. I would have expected to see at least one budget that was positive, but they did not send me one budget that was positive.
Right.
Not one. So I asked.
I mean, it's certainly a well-known method. I mean, this is a lot of charter companies do this. I mean, it's not ideal by any means.
And I know the state, in regards to the FEFP and shifting, I mean, we had this conversation with athletics and our open enrollment, how I can have a student that goes to Orange County even though I live here, and clearly my tax dollars are going to be going elsewhere as well. So I guess my question would be, at what level is the state just going to tell us, nope, you get to do this, because they already are shifting the dollars in the FEFP, and what constraints to the budget approving this? I know that we have the finances, that's one of our obligations, but what component of their finances are we allowed to say no to?
Well, I think it's really important also that we're not looking at necessarily their budget, because on 250 kids, I mean, we've established that it's 400 kids as a break even. So to hear that they're having to borrow money does not surprise me.
But they borrow money when they have more than 400 kids.
But to think that we're going to have a middle high school that's not going to have the student population to stand on its own with the growth in South Lake, I think is a mistake. What one needs to look at, and I did early on when we first approved the Pinecrest, was the stability of Pinecrest and academia. And they are solid. So I think that their internal loaning money or whatnot to keep the school open is actually a testament of their commitment to the market rather than something to be afraid of. That's just my view on it.
Ms. Luke, was your question to Elizabeth?
I was just curious, because I was thinking about the budget aspect of it too. So are we looking at the budget or the finances? I guess that's my question.
I think it's the finances.
Okay.
The financial management.
Right.
Is what the statute says.
Right.
But part of the application.
Are they solvent, really?
Right, but part of the application is the requirement that they've submitted budgets and 5-year projections, including 75% of the students and 50% of the students. And we saw in those situations, you don't even end up with an administrator at that school.
Right. And obviously their budget was nonsense. But ultimately, I think that their school, Ms. Weiskopf went to, she's not here, or I don't see her, but she went to see the schools and found reasonably good schools. And so academically, they seem to be pretty reasonable, and they are a solvent. They're overall in the black. So I guess I feel like they can sustain themselves at this point.
And I think the bottom line is, are they able to meet the academics that are necessary for these students to be able to progress and graduate and be productive once they leave there? The finances part of that, I understand, is student population. And if they've got a funding source that will allow them to be able to make this happen and then eventually pay it back, then that's their budget and that's the way they operate their business. And, I have to say that's really not our part. Our part is to make sure that they are able to pay their bills, and they're able to do it substantially because they have an incorporation that they can pull the money from to substantiate it. So, that's what I'm looking at on this is the education, are they able to produce? Now, I'm not a big proponent of charter schools, But in our situation that we are in Lake County right now, especially on the south end, if we can allow a charter school that would come in and help us there, because we can't build schools fast enough, and help take some of the problems off of our other schools where we're overpopulated, and they meet our needs, their finances are self-sufficient because of the corporation they pull it from. They're just pulling from their own corporation. So I would say, as long as we're able to do that and they're able to do it, let's press on.
Yeah, I mean, I think our ultimate job is to make sure that we think that they're solvent for 5 years before they come back to us, so that they aren't closing and then opening up, or, pulling money from Miami just to open up and then close down. So to me, they seem like a company that is big enough that they are solvent for the next 5 years. And they seem to be actually one of the better charters. So do I fundamentally like the concept of pulling from Miami to fund, like conceptually? I think it's not a good idea, because eventually they'll be pulling from Lake County to fund, I don't know, Hillsborough or something. But they seem to make it work.
But it's their funding.
Right. And it's their call to do that.
Right.
Even if I don't think it's in the concept of how FEFP works. I think the money for FEFP should go to each kid. Philosophically, that's not my call to make under the law, I don't think.
Is it not? Evaluating their financial management, that they are having to.
But if they
rob from the kids
ultimately
in Miami-Dade in order to fund education in Lake County, and that's clearly not the intention of the FEFP. And so that's where I have a crossroads with this. And my other struggle is that the gentleman reached out and said, "Here, I'll get you the information you need." He provided it on Wednesday afternoon. I got back to him on Friday with some other questions, and I didn't get all the answers. In fact, I had to call him and say, "Am I getting answers?" "Oh, yeah, I think they're coming, but I don't know them." And I never got them. So without the answers of the questions that I asked, I guess I don't feel comfortable supporting this school. And it's not necessarily that I won't support it at all, but today I can't support it because they won't even answer the questions that I provided them, and they can't show me a budget that operates in the black. That every budget of a school that they were trying to stand behind as touting it as this is a great budget operates in the red. You'd think that if they were going to send me any budget, they could have sent one that had a positive cash flow, but not one. So
you're saying they don't have any?
Not that they
not
sent me, which I know they've got some.
They have to have some.
Didn't they send you models of schools that are already operating?
That's right.
That have similar enrollment to.
And they're all in the red.
They're not in the red because they can't be in the red. They are loaning themselves to end up in the black, right? Right.
So that's basically in the red.
No, it's not. Not in government accounting or even in business accounting. If I loan a business money, then it's in the black to keep it operating. If you show a loss, then it's in the red. They're not showing a loss, right? So, anyway, for whatever that was worth.
Well,
okay.
Do we have a recommendation or a motion?
We need a recommendation.
I have a recommendation. I recommend that we approve the Pinecrest Lakes Middle and High School charter application.
So moved.
Second.
I really appreciate your investigation of this.
You can call for the vote.
Oh, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Okay. All right. So 11.01, approval of Director of Internal Audit Evaluation Instrument. Superintendent?
Actually, this is going to be me.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. School Board Policy 6.193 requires you to annually evaluate the Director of Internal Audit, Mr. Mock. And the policy provides that the evaluation cycle begins and ends at the annual organizational meeting of the school board in November. Mr. Mock's last evaluation was January 8th, 2018 for the 2017-2018 school year. So at this point, we're behind in his evaluations. We're going to try and catch back up, so we're requesting tonight that you approve the evaluation instrument, which is required by board policy first, so that we can evaluate Mr. Mock. and the evaluation will be based on his performance from his last evaluation through November 1st of 2019. The proposed evaluation instrument that was attached on board docs is the same evaluation instrument that was used last time, which Mr. Mock said he was okay with using again. So at this point, the matter before the board is to approve or not approve the evaluation instrument.
Okay. Superintendent?
Wait,
who has the recommendation?
I'll make a motion that we approve the same evaluation instrument.
So moved.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Superintendent, do you have a report today?
Yeah, just a few things. I want to congratulate all of our 5-star school award winners that were here and their commitment to enhancing their school and community relations. And also want to congratulate all the students that were recognized tonight for their attendance awareness projects. Lots of recognition tonight, but one that I'd like to highlight is Ms. Sherry Owens. On Thursday in Tampa, she was recognized as a 2019 Medallion Award winner from Sunspro, which is the state public relations association, for her great work in regards to crisis communication and specifically with the school safety tax referendum project. And then announced to her, she won the overall state award for those same projects. And so we're very proud of you. And also, this is our last meeting before the winter break. So believe it or not, this year is just absolutely flying by, and I just want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday. Student holiday begins on Friday, December 20th, and the classes resume on Tuesday, January the 7th. So we still have about 2 more weeks of instruction, and we have exams and things going on. So we just wish all of our students well as we round out the first half of the year, and just appreciate everything that our teachers and staff and students are doing in our schools. Also, I sent a letter of condolence to Stephanie Steele. She's a teacher at Eustis High School, and she lost her father, Roscoe Steele. And so condolences to her and her family. Oh, and one last thing. We did have 2 students today, 2 separate instances, one before school and one after school, that were struck by vehicles. Both are in critical conditions, and so I'd ask you to please keep those students in your thoughts and prayers as our families are dealing with that this evening. And our kids are resilient, and hopefully they'll be strong and be able to pull through, and we'll keep you updated on their progress.
Thank you for that. That is very sad. Ms. Luke, do you have any comments?
There was another, there's an employee at Umatilla Middle School whose mother passed away unexpectedly this weekend, if I remember correctly too, so I'll give you her name after this as well. And I just had written down also congratulations to Sherry and to the superintendent, that we are very proud, and you guys represent Lake County so well, and we're just grateful to be able to be a part of that and what you guys represent and stood up for in front of those organizations at the state level. So thank you very much for the work that you do. It's respectable and wonderful, and we're very proud of you. I also and now of course it's kind of empty, but it always impresses me whenever our students are being recognized, the level of support that comes with them. So it wasn't just students. There were teachers here. Their parents obviously were here, and principals and assistant principals, and they just come out to support those kids, and that just tells a story to me, to be able to sit up here and see the investment in their students that they have to go beyond and above and beyond to that magnitude. So we appreciate them. It's holidays. I also had Happy Holidays written down, and we'll see you guys next year. I only get to use that one time a year, so. Okay.
All right. Well, attended last Thursday the FSBA conference, and it was very informative, and was able to sit in on Liz giving a little presentation there. She tag teamed with another attorney, and they went over some Supreme Court cases and things, and it was very informative. She was very cognizant of my presence, though, even though I try to be incognito. But but anyway, she did a fantastic job in representing Lake County School Board and also her firm. Before the Thanksgiving break, we were at Triangle for an ESE dinner that we were invited by Miss Pillow, And we appreciate the opportunity to be there and take part in that. And the kids prepared the lunch that was there, and it was a fabulous time there, being able to see them in that atmosphere. This morning I was at Tavares Elementary. I stopped by last week just to check on something, and I got volunteered to be a judge this morning at a science fair, and it was very tiresome.
It
would be the word. Because you're there for a good little time, but each one that I went and I was actually judging, I went through and read everything that they had on there, and the thing was, they have condensed it now. They've went from the big poster boards down to like legal size, and I'm like, I need opera glasses for all this, but I took time to read everything they had done. It was very informative and very good, all the participants that were there involved in that. This Thursday night, Tavares Elementary is doing something that I think is the first time, a light up Tavares Elementary, and it's at 5:30. And then last thing I have is the young girl from Spring Creek Elementary, Riley, and speaking with Mr. Locke last week, she is doing pretty good. The right side of her arm and her leg and things where she was not able to control it, just spasmodic did things. She now has control of that, where they said if she came out of this, she'd be brain dead. Well, she's not brain dead. She's got a little sense of humor because she did a little gesture to the doctor. He asked her for something. Instead of thumbs up, she gave him something else. But
good for her.
But, it's just that it's magnificent to be able to see this child doing this, and she's up in Jacksonville, and I think she's supposed to come home this Thursday. And
be nice Christmas.
What the parents have asked for, or what they are doing right now, they refuse a turkey dinner or a dinner and everything, so give it to the family that needs it. We have plenty. And what they are doing is they're selling T-shirts that has some writing on it and a logo, and for $20 to try to help compensate their journey back and forth to the hospitals and hotels and things of that nature there. So if anybody, you get in touch with Mr. Locke out at Spring Creek. They ask for cash. But they are ordering these T-shirts to help this family, and I think this is great. My wife and I, I went out there for my wife and I. And the thing was, I was at AutoZone getting a battery for my truck, and I was sharing it with some people that I coached their granddaughter in softball, and they gave me $20, So I put their name down as well to get a shirt. But I think this is good. And I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. And we have a lot going on between now and when students get out and when our 12-month employees leave for the holidays. And I pray that you are safe. Thank you.
This meeting certainly was a fantastic way to end the year with all the great celebrations. Congratulations to the superintendent and you, Sherry. I think those are great honors, and not only to celebrate our own employees, but then, of course, with the number of students at the Education Foundation also had the chance to celebrate tonight, and the schools themselves for the 5-star. A great all-around celebration of all the wonderful things happening. Not all the wonderful things, but a lot of wonderful things happening in our district. So that's wonderful to see that momentum just continue to grow and grow if that's even possible. In response to some of the public input speakers tonight, I was wondering if we might have an executive session for collective bargaining on our calendar anytime soon, or if that would be appropriate for us to do that, to kind of talk about some of those and figure out next steps.
I would like that.
All right, thanks.
So Carmen, she has a mischievous side to her, and is the queen of keeping surprises. So as it so happened, Stephanie, Luke, and I actually were in Tampa to meet with Jim Hamilton. And meeting with Jim, then Carmen said, I saved you a place for lunch. And so we got to see firsthand our superintendent very surprised, and it genuinely was an honor to be there for that. But the report from Jim Hamilton, and this is important, that right now the equity compression they're set to approve it for 2 years right now. So I will not rest until it is permanent. but 2 years is the mark. There is some light at the end of the tunnel on the funding, although it looks like that the per student actually may be going down actually as it filters to us. And so we need to watch this legislative session very closely and see if the governor's commitment and I take his statement, his position as the first step, that naturally if we are going to recognize our teachers as the professionals that they are, and if we identify $47,500 as a good beginning income, we certainly have to take into account our veteran teachers and those that have been loyal to the district, and that will be the push. And I know that, Stuart, you guys are working certainly on that, and we should never take our eye off the ball, that we also need to take care of the engine that keeps the schools running, which are our classified workers, and they are often and woefully left out of the conversation. And so let's make sure that we keep our eye on the ball collectively, all of us, because we are in this together, all of us. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to a prosperous and Happy New Year to all of you. Thanks.
Mr. Gamble?
Mr. Chairman, I forgot something, and Mr. Carr sent me something real quick. I was recipient with Mr. Carr and Dr. Boone at the Mount Dora Commission meeting where they willfully gave us Heim Field over there in Mount Dora for the baseball field, and the only thing that we have to do is keep it a baseball field. So we appreciate that. We thank the city of Mount Dora. If we could just get other cities to jump in the same way. Thank you.
Give us baseball fields? Give us baseball fields?
Well, we've got some at Stover.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to I had actually had the opportunity to speak with one of the city commissioners for Mount Dora, and it was really nice. It was a really nice conversation, and he clearly wanted to have more collaboration with our district in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. I also have marked down the superintendent that she got Superintendent of the Year, but also the Leesburg Chamber named her Educator of the Year, which was at a wonderful gala.
That's right.
Did you want
No, I totally forgot about that part.
Yes, Mr. Matthias was there, some of the senior staff, and it was really a wonderful evening, and so nice to be able to celebrate you again. And so I also wanted to bring up that we do have a website for the Best and Brightest. I've heard some rumors out there that like the superintendent did it, and that just other misinformation about the Best and Brightest money. Obviously the superintendent didn't do it. It's just the Best and Brightest money is a state law where normally we would get a certain amount of money put into the students' FEFP, which is the money per student that we get, and then there would be a certain amount extra, and we would be able to apply that to whatever programs or raises that we choose at a local level. Instead, any extra money this year was funneled into the Best and Brightest Scholarship Fund, and then there were many obscure reasons why certain schools got more money, certain teachers got more money at certain schools. We don't know, I'm sure somebody knows exactly why the schools were picked, but it really looks pretty random when you have A schools that weren't picked and C schools that were picked. So basically we're doing the best we can with a really lousy law. I did want to let everyone know that if you type into Google, because it's got a confusing website, but if you just Google Lake County Schools Best and Brightest, the second link is a good link, and you can see how the money is broken down for the awards. So at least you can see somewhat what we've done with the money and how it's been allocated out. I just wanted to sort of explain that because it's confusing to the general public. I also wanted to thank Carmen and the Educational Foundation for the incredible amount of work that they do funding the programs they fund so many programs for our schools and our kids, and there is so much work that they put into it. And such a huge group of volunteers. And the Renaissance Fair is, I mean, it's my favorite. It's a fabulous event. It's super fun, but it's also a massive undertaking. And it, like, the amount of work and volunteering and effort that goes into it is well worth it because of the return, but wow, it's a lot of work for these people. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of the whole Educational Foundation for it. And then I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you all next year. So with that, we're adjourned.
Next decade, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.